Hello everyone, welcome to part 2. In this part, we are actually going to talk about the information security governance. But first, before we start that, let's do some review questions for chapter 1. And let's see if you know the answers. Which of the following is used to declare the intended area of operation for a business? Value statement, vision statement, objective statement, or mission statement? This is a mission statement. The next question is true or false. The CISO is another name for CIO as both roles perform the same task. As you know, the Chief Information Security Officer is not the same as Chief Information Officer. So the answer is false. Which of the following is not a component of typical strategic plan? Executive summary, archive profile, organizational profile, or strategic issue and challenges. Executive summary, organizational profile, and strategic issue and challenges are part of the strategic plan. Archive profile is not a component of a strategic plan. The next question is, which of the following best describes a stakeholder? An individual or a group that owns financial stock in an organization, a competing organization, an individual who buys an organization product, or an individual or group who has vested interest. And the answer is D, an individual or group who has a vested interest in a company. Which of the following is used to establish a formal set of organizational principles and quality for organization? Value statement, vision statement, mission statement, or morals statement. And when we are talking about principles and quality for organization, we are talking about value statement. Okay, let's begin now the information security governance chapter. So what is a governance? Basically, governance is a set of responsibility and practices that are exercised by the board and executive management. The goal is to provide a strategic direction by making sure that the objectives are being achieved and making sure that the risks are being managed properly and verifying that the enterprise has the resources that have the responsibility. Strategic planning and corporate responsibility are being accomplished by using an approach that's called GRC, or called governance, risk management, and compliance. Basically, this is you integrate these three parts together in order to have one holistic approach. As we mentioned even before, the information security is actually a managerial responsibility. And it is important for the management to get involved in making sure that the information security is planned and it's actually being executed at the organization. So the information security objective must be addressed at the highest level of an organization management team in order for it to be effective. In 1998, ISACA, which is the organization founded to support the development of auditing programs in computer system, created a governance institute that's called the ITGI, which is Information Technology Governance Institute, which address the need for the intellectual development of governance of enterprise information technology. And this organization becomes recognized in order to promote the governance in IT and also in information security. It includes all the accountable and methods undertaken by board of directors and also executives in order to provide strategic direction, also in order to provide the measurements of the progress towards the objectives, as well as verification that the risk management practices are out there and they are appropriate, as well as validation that the organization's assets are being used properly. So the ITGI recommends the board of director supervise the strategic information security objectives by creating and promoting a culture that recognize the criticality of the information and information security. Also verifying that management investment in the information security is properly aligned with the organizational strategy and also the organization's risk environment. Also, it recommends to mandate and assure that a comprehensive information security program is developed and implemented, as well as requiring reports from different layers of organization on information security programs' effectiveness and the adequacy. So these are basically some of the approach that the ITGI Institute takes in order for making sure that the board of directors kind of following the information security objectives. As we mentioned, information security governance consists of leadership, it consists of organizational structure, and processes that safeguards the information. So also effective communication is important among all the parties, which you need to also have constructive relationships, have a common language, and shared commitment to addressing the issues. In order to do the desired outcome properly, we need to have a strategic alignment with business strategy to support the organizational objectives. Also, we need to have the risk management by executing appropriate measures to be able to manage and mitigate the threats to the information resources. Also, resource management by utilizing the information security knowledge and infrastructure very effectively and efficiently. And performance measurement by measuring, monitoring, and reporting the information security governance metrics in order to making sure that objectives are being achieved. Also, value delivery by optimizing information security investment in support of organizational objectives. The NACD, which is the National Association of Corporate Directors, which is the top membership organization for board of directors in US, recognized the importance of information security, and it placed the information security on board's agenda. It also identified the information security leaders and making sure that they are accountable and make sure that to support them. Also, it ensured the effectiveness of corporation information security policy through various levels of review and approval, as well as assign information security to a key committee and making sure that it has adequate resources to support that. In 2004, the Corporate Governance Task Force, which is an advisory group, was formed by National Cybersecurity Partnership, and it actually published a framework for information security governance, and it called it Information Security Governance, a Call to Action. So it encouraged both the organization and the public and private sector to build information security governance program and also integrate them into existing corporate governance structure. According to Corporate Governance Task Force, the organization should engage in a core set of activities that's suited to its need to guide the development and implementation of the information security governance program. Such as conduct an annual information security evaluation, the result of which the CEO should review with the staff and then reports it back to the board of directors. Also conduct periodic risk assessment of information assets as part of the risk management program. Also implement policies and procedure based on those risk assessment to make sure that the information assets has those security that it needs to. Also establish a security management structure to assign explicit individual roles, responsibilities, authorities, as well as accountabilities within their employees. They also need to develop, plan, and initiate some action to provide adequate information security for networks, facilities, and other information systems. Threat information security as integral part of the system lifecycle. Provide information security awareness for the personnel, such as training and education. Conduct periodic testing and evaluation of the effectiveness of the procedures. Create and execute a plan for remedial action to address any information security deficiencies that the company might have. Also develop and implement an incident response procedure. Establish plans, procedure, and tests for continuity of the operation, as well as use security best practice guidelines, some of the guidelines such as ISO 2700, to measure the information security performance. The CGTF frameworks has 5 phases: initiation, diagnosing, establishing, acting, and learning, which is referred to ideal model, IDEAL, ideal model, which is very important framework in the information security. So in initiation phase, lay the groundwork for successful improvement effort. In the diagnosing phase, determine where you are relative to where you want to be. In establishing phase, plan the specific of how you want to get to your destination. In acting phase, do the work according to what you have planned. And in learning phase, you learn from the experiences and improve your ability to adopt new improvements in the future. This ideal framework is actually defining the responsibility of the board of directors, the chief information officer, the executive team members, and other managers. So as you can see in this diagram, there are various responsibility and various functional roles that are associated with it. In 2007, the CERT division of Carnegie Mellon University Software Engineering Institute published and promoted an implementation guide for its trademark governance for enterprise security program, which is now outdated but is still useful. This includes 3 supporting articles. The Article 1 deals with characteristics of effective security governance. Article 2 deals with defining an effective enterprise security program. And Article 3 deals with enterprise security governance, some of the activities that's going on in. So the GS hierarchy that is being developed by the division of Carnegie Mellon University Software Engineering Institute deals with business unit plan policies, enterprise security plan, enterprise security strategy, and risk management plan, which is at the top level. So in each of those 3 articles, it deals with these parts in those 3 articles that I just mentioned. Now let's talk about ISO 27014, which is developed in 2013. And it's part of the ISO 27000 standards for governance of information security. This standard specifies 6 high-level action-oriented information security governance principles. First, establish organization-wide information security. Then, adopt a risk-based approach. Third, set the direction of investment decision. Fourth, making sure the conformance with internal and external requirements are there. Fifth, foster a security positive environment in the organization. And sixth, review the performance in relation to the business outcomes. So the ISO 27014 deals with these 6 high-level action-oriented principles. The standard, the ISO 27014, also deals with 5 governance processes, such as evaluate, which review the status of current and projected processes toward the organization and information security objectives. Direct, which the board of directors provide instruction for developing and information changes to the security program. Monitor, which review the assessment of organizational information security performance towards goals and objectives by governing body. And communicate, the interaction between the governing body and also the external stakeholders, where information on organizational effort and recommendation for change are exchanged. And as well as assure, the assessment of organization effort by external entities like certification or other accreditation groups, and oversight entities in an effort to validate organizational security governance and provide recommendations. The overall goal of governance as assessed in ISO 27014 is the alignment of objective of strategies between the information security program and overall organization. Also, another goal is to increase value added to the organization, the executive management, and as well as the stakeholders. Also, another goal is to have effective assignment of risk to the appropriate responsibility party. Now let's talk about security convergence. The convergence of security-related governance in organizations has been observed since 1970s, 1980s, since the broad deployment of information system began. Industry media have discussed the issues surrounding this merging of management accountability in the area of corporate or physical security, corporate risk management, computer security, network security, and information security. In 2007, a report by Deloitte and commissioned by Alliance for Enterprise Security Risk Management identified the key approaches that the organizations are using in order to achieve unified enterprise risk management. In those reports, they have identified combining physical security and information security under one leader as one business function. Also, they mentioned using separate business functions, each with separate budget, that report to a common senior executives. And also using a risk council approach to provide a collaborative method for risk management to be able to set policies about assuming risk to the organization. Also in 2015, the study that was done by InfoSec shows that management practices in most of the larger organizations, they still keep the physical and information security segregated, even with significant collaboration, while full integration is much more common in the smaller organizations. So in this report, you can see that the reports that are, the companies that are basically larger, there is a more segregation between, the physical security and other security. So they are basically completely separate units. And in smaller organizations, basically less than 1,000 employees, the full integration is more common in those organizations. So this is it for this part of the lecture. Then in the next lecture, I'm going to talk about how to plan for information security implementation. Okay, take care for now.